good morning, number 2. How's everybody doing this morning? Good? All right, that's glad to hear that. Okay, I got a question for you. How many of you know the 3 rings of marriage? You know a ring? How many know the 3 rings of marriage? The first ring is the engagement ring. That's when the boy says to the girl, will you marry me? That's the engagement ring. That's the first ring. The second ring is the wedding ring, which you get when you're in the wedding. You know, they say, who has the ring? You pass it on to the bride. That's the second ring. So the first ring is the engagement ring. The second ring is the wedding ring. And the third ring, after you've been married for about 10 years, is the suffer ring. They won't get it. All right. All right, just forget I even said it. Okay, here's our story for the morning. You can look at the screen. It's Cain and Abel. It comes from Genesis chapter 4, verses 1 through 16. If you do not have a Bible to read these stories, you make sure you see Bill or Jim or me or Mommy or anybody, all you teachers. We can get you a Bible in your very own language. Free. That's the best price in the world. It's free. All right, you ready for our story this morning? All right, good. We're going to talk about Cain and Abel. Last week, Bill told you about Adam and Eve and how the sin came into the world. And they got thrown out of the Garden of Eden, which was the perfect place to live. If you ever picked a place to live, you don't want to live in my neighborhood. You want to live in the Garden of Eden. Free food, no sickness, no COVID-19. So it was a nice place, but they got tossed out of it because they disobeyed God. And the sin went on from there into their family too. And you will see that sin started in the Garden of Eden and it continues even till today, many thousands of years later. So Adam and Eve had 2 children. Their names were Cain and Abel. Cain was the firstborn child, and after he was born, Eve said, boy, this is going to be quite a man. Thank you, God, for giving me this boy. So then, months later, Abel came along, the second son, and Cain wanted to have a job, so he picked out the job as a farmer because he liked working outdoors. He liked growing wheat and barley, and he had produce and all sorts of good stuff to go with it. And then Abel, he wanted to be a shepherd to take care of sheep. So if you see on your paper there where it says in number 2, he became a shepherd, or 3. Anyway, we'll talk about that at the end of the program. So one day Cain and Abel decided they were going to make an offering to God. Now why would you make an offering to God? There's a couple of reasons. One is you want to thank God for blessing your life, doing good things, you get good health. You want to thank God. That's one way to make an offering to God. Another way is if you sin, you say, God, I have sinned against you. Please forgive me. And to show that I'm serious, I'm going to give you this offering. So Cain and Abel, they came up to the place of the altar. And let me see here what we can do. Keep forgetting, I'm supposed to push the button. Ooh, there's the sacrifice right there. So you can see up there, Cain, he's got, looks like a pumpkin and a watermelon and some vegetables. And he put that on the altar. Then Abel came along and he put a sheep on the altar. Now the sheep was perfect. It wasn't a bad sheep at all. It was a good sheep. Perfect in every way. No broken bones, no cuts, no bruises. It was perfect, the way God would want it. So they put it on the altar, they lit the fire, and the smoke went up. And God saw the sacrifices, and he looked down, and he was happy with the one that Abel had. He said, this is perfect. It's exactly what I needed to see. But then he looked at Cain's offering, and he said, ooh, this guy did this thing his own way. I never told him to give me a sacrifice like that. And he would not accept Cain's offering. So when Cain heard about that, he was not happy at all. He was upset. He was mad. He started throwing a tantrum, stomping around on the ground. He said, God, I did my best. I gave you my best, and you don't accept it. And he had a sour face. He had a big frown on his face. And people would come up and they'd say, Cain, what's the matter? And he said, nothing. Nothing's the matter. Leave me alone. But something was the matter. He had sinned against God. He had done things his own way instead of God's way. And then when Cain would walk around with his sour face, God said to Cain,
why are you angry? Why are you looking so sad? Do what is right, and then you will be accepted. If you don't do what is right, sin is waiting at your door to grab you. It desires to control you, but you must rule over it.
Wow. There he is. Look at him up on the screen. He's not happy at all. And God talks to him. And then, what happens next? Cain talks to his younger brother. And he says, younger brother, let's go out and get some good fellowship together. Let's go out to the field and just look at God's beautiful nature. So Abel said, I've been working hard as a sheep herder. I think I need to go out and take a break. So they both go walking into the field. And Abel's admiring all of God's creation, the mountains, the trees, all the beautiful flowers. Then all of a sudden, he's got his back turned to Cain. Cain picks up a rock or maybe a stick, comes up behind Abel and smashes him in the head. He falls down on the ground dead. That's the end of Abel. But God saw everything that happened because God knows all and sees all. And the Lord said to Cain,
where is your brother Abel?
And Cain said, I don't know. It's not my day to watch him. And besides that, I'm not my brother's keeper. And then the Lord said to Cain,
what have you done? Listen, your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground. So I am putting a curse on you. I am driving you away from this ground. It has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you farm the land, it will not produce its crops for you anymore. You will be a restless person who wanders around on the earth.
And what happened next? Cain looked up at God and said, God, this punishment's too much. I can't take this. You're going to drive me from my land, the ground I put my crops in, and I've got to go to a brand new place, and every place I go to, I'm going to plant crops and they're not going to grow. This is just too much for me. I can't handle this. And then you're going to make me wander around. I'm never going to see my parents again. And the worst part is, when someone sees me, they're going to know that I killed my brother, and they're going to want to kill me. Then the Lord said,
no, anyone who kills you will be paid back 7 times.
So the Lord put a mark on Cain, put a mark on his head, or maybe a tattoo of a butterfly or something on his arm. Whatever it was, they knew if they touched this man that they and 6 of their relatives would die. So no one bothered Cain from that point on, but he had a miserable life. Cain left home and he went to the land called Nod, and I know that. It said, all right, so that's our story, but I'm going to tell you what the story means. You can do things several ways in life. You can do it your own way, and how does that work out? Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. Or you can do things like Abel did and do it God's way, then you'll have a better life. God told Cain, he gave him a chance, he said, just do what is right. Just do the way I tell you. Do what is right. I'll accept you and I'll bless you. But Cain didn't listen. But God said, if you do wrong, sin is waiting at your door. It's knocking at your door right now. If you disobey me, you're going to pay the price. Sin's going to destroy you. So we have a choice in life, and the choice is, do it God's way or do it Cain's way. What's your choice? Okay, that's our story for today. And let's look at the sheet real quick. And number one, Adam and Eve had two sons. The first son was named Cain. The second son was named Abel. Number three, Abel also worked outside. He became a shepherd. S-H-E-P-H-E-R-D. And seven, Abel's offering was a shepherd. That's a better answer, but it's longer than what I put. And whose offering did God accept? Cain or Abel's? Abel's. He rejected Cain's offering. And the last one is 15. One day, Cain invited Abel to work with him in the field. When Abel turned his head, Cain picked up a rock and killed, K-I-L-L-E-D, his brother. And that's our Bible story for today. Thank you for listening.